Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today, I am proud to declare the Watchbox Reviews debut of the Grand Seiko Hi-Beat Diver SBGH255. You may feel via the reviews and the Versus series that you've seen this watch once or even twice on the channel, but in fact, you've seen its limited edition blue waffle dial counterpart from the same 2017 model year. The two watches, the 255 that you see here and the 257, that's the limited series, being the first two professional grade, and that's Grand Seiko's term, Grand Seiko dive watches ever. So breaking new ground, these 600-meter divers are immense in grade 5 titanium. They're big, but they wear light. 46 millimeters is the size, to be precise 46.9, and it is a thick watch at 17.3 millimeters thick, but it's reasonably constrained from lug to lug. It's 50.8 millimeters. It's only when you add the solid end links to the bracelet that you get a much broader 54.2 millimeter measurement. But don't give up on that, because even on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it sits comfortably. I would actually rate this watch as wearable and comfortable, especially as a pure tool watch for wrists as small as 15 centimeters in circumference. If you want legibility and durability with accuracy and character in a diver, you can't do much better than this. The bracelet is very comfortable because, like the watch itself, it is grade 5 titanium. Technically, Grand Seiko does claim that this is their high-intensity titanium, but it's what I consider to be grade 5 or elsewhere in the metallurgical world, 6.4 titanium. It takes that polish and it has that hardness that we associate with 6.4 or grade 5. The case is what's known as a polyhedron. That's Grand Seiko's description. You can see there are small slivers of Zaratsu hand-polished, or I should say, hand-pressured and hand-guided tin plate polished surfaces. So this is a more interesting form than your standard Rolex Omega or Breitling diver. You can see it has almost the appearance of a cut gem. Grand Seiko's term is polyhedron, polish and satin, and you see the same on the bracelet itself. Now the bracelet is made of the same titanium as the case. You can see that the polished bevel is a wonderfully becoming feature. It's a little nod to the artist's hand and the artisan's technique. It's far more nuanced in design and finish than what you'll find on the big Swiss brands in this price point. Now on the underside you will note big gaps to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat. This being a Grand Seiko, they continue to insist on using pin sleeves on their titanium bracelets. It's not that they don't have the technology or wherewithal, they simply believe it's a more secure arrangement with titanium. The clasp is a remarkable piece. Over-engineered, well, this is the definition of that. You have trigger release, but then you also have a clamshell lock. Why not both? And let's grace them with multiple finishes: polish, satin, media blasting. Throw everything at this one. Now the triggers give you that security that comes only from a release mechanism that requires positive release. There is a push button incremental slider built into the clasp. You actually raise these two winglets on the flanks, and then you can make that extension all out, all in, or any number of millimetric increments in between. It's a system that works well, even if the bracelet and clasp assembly can be a bit bewildering to those familiar with more conventional Swiss extensions, and there are apertures, if you have a strap tool, for making incremental adjustments apart and beyond from the extension and removable links. So looking back at the case, you can see that the strap tool apertures are also to be found in the lugs. This is one that fits easily to a strap. Grand Seiko does sell a very nice silicone unit that I highly recommend, but if you wish to accessorize with an aftermarket strap, 23 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs. The knurling of the bezel is very deep and easy to grip. There's also a handsome polish about the flanks of that knurling to add a little bit of contrast with the satin case flanks and the ADLC bezel insert, and it is ADLC, so it's not quite as scratch resistant as ceramic, but the amorphous diamond-like carbon is fairly scratch resistant, with the notable advantage over ceramic that it cannot be shattered or fractured. The bezel action is best described as Blancpain 50 Fathoms or Rolex Submariner, which is to say it's roughly a 120 click, highly refined feel. It's satisfying and it's relentlessly mechanical, but there's refined mechanical and then there's 50 caliber machine gun mechanical, which is what you'll get from a Doxa or a Panerai. This is more of the refined feel. Line up that index with the broad arrow style minutes hand, and now you've got a great 0 to 60 minute timer that I happen to prefer by some margin over a conventional chronograph. For anything of an interval between 0 and 60 minutes, give me a dive bezel over a chronograph every time. Now the dial, you can see the dial furniture is richly appointed, all applique and in yellow gold, an unusual choice on a black dial and a titanium watch. But you can see that the richly appointed base doesn't just include those yellow gold accents, it includes a hobnail or waffle pattern, and that's because the dial is made of soft iron. It helps the watch to achieve its anti-magnetic properties of resistance to 16,000 amperes per meter. The ISO standard 764 for an anti-magnetic watch is that it needs to be able to resist 4,800 ampere per meter, so far better than 3 times the standard as an anti-magnetic watch. You'll also note gilt-style printing, and the hands themselves represent a rare use of cathedral hands on a dive watch. So the cathedral-style hour and the broad arrow-style minute-making for easy reading. You'll note there is a blacked-out counterweight to the seconds hand, itself yellow gold-plated, and the blacked-out counterweight bears the luminescent pearl for the seconds indication. So it's actually the counterweight that features the luminescent material. Chromalite being the material used and made in-house by Grand Seiko. Now inside the case, which endows the watch with both 600-meter water resistance and immunity to helium gas intrusion, more on that in a moment, you'll find Grand Seiko's manufacturer caliber 9S85 automatic 10 beats per second, 36,000 vibrations per hour, 55-hour power reserve, 37 joules, adjusted in 6 positions versus the Swiss chronometer standard of 5. This one has hacking seconds, a quick set date, and now a little bit more about that notion of being helium resistant. Many watches feature a helium escape valve. There's a special gasket sealing system that Grand Seiko uses that they find sufficiently secure to rate the watch as immune to helium intrusion, so you never have to worry about the egress since there is no ingress. So it's a double-sided resistance to helium. You don't need to let it out because it doesn't get in. And the timing tolerances of this movement, by the way, -3 + 5 seconds per 24 hours. So not just adjusted in chronometer beating 6 positions, but also adjusted beyond the chronometer timing standard of -4 + 6 per 24 hours. This is the full package. If you want a no-holds-barred diver that marches to the beat, the 10 beat per second beat of a different drummer, check out this Grand Seiko Hi-Beat Diver SBGH255. And we're back with the Grand Seiko Hi-Beat Diver, the SBGH255. You can see that gorgeous set of hands, broad arrow and cathedral, with the counterweight bob of the seconds hand making its 60-second circuit. See it by the light of day on the watch box.